You can, it should be able to say share, send live.
Okay, cool. I've never done a TikTok live before, so
I know. I haven't done them in a long time, so I'm so unprepared.
no, you're fine. We're just chatting.
Yep. Okay, so we can start with your introduction, and I'm gonna share this anyways afterwards. There's a feature where I can actually share these
Hmm.
on IG and stuff too.
Yes, perfect.
Okay. So
All
we can
right.
start with like introduction, name, type of job, that's,
Hmm.
whatever you want to say.
Perfect. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Chelsea Gray, and you probably know me from Vertical, mostly Vertical Villains. So yeah, that's kind of my thing. The most recent one that I've been in was Drama Box, chasing his rejected alpha wife, and My Miracle Luna. Those two are my most recent werewolf villain ones. So yeah.
Okay, and hi everyone, I'm Melly. I usually do a multitude of things like cosplay, reviewing books, interviewing, and I recently started reviewing verticals. And Chelsea, I just want to say thank you. You are my first victim.
Glad to
I'm
be here.
joking. I'm joking, but thank you. I am so happy you did this. Um, And so, the first question I have is something fun we should know that you want to share, either about you or about acting or.
Um, well, I mean, I've been a performer my whole life, but I think something that is really defining in my career and my life in general is my first job was at Disneyland, actually. I was the Chipmunks. I was Chippendale. And that is what I did for a year when I turned 18. I did the Chipmunks, I did Pooh Bear, and some other characters. And that was really fun for me. And I was like, yeah, I love performing. I love just being silly. So, yeah, I don't work
I
there
love
anymore
that.
though, but yeah.
I love that. I met a lot of people through my cosplays and stuff who
Hmm.
know characters.
Yes, yes, it is really big. A lot of people that have worked there in entertainment are also cosplayers. I've noticed that as well.
So, what is a skill you've always wanted to learn? It could be about acting, it could be about anything in life, like
Hmm.
something you've always wanted to master.
Well, ever since I saw The Hunger Games, I wanted to do archery. That was like I was like I want to be Katniss. So I really just want to be an action star in general, but I think like something apocalyptic that requires me to like have a bow and arrow or a crossbow or something like that or a sword. I don't know. I would love to be able to wield the weapons. That'd be really really fun.
Yeah, I think I've always wanted to do archery too, and
Hmm.
I learned from Princess Diaries that women actually pick up on it faster than men
Oh,
do.
oh, I mean that
So
makes sense.
yeah, so it's a really cool skill that,
Hmm.
and Katniss just nailed it out of the park when she did that whole scene that she did. So
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, obsessed. I'm a huge Hunger Games fan, so yeah.
Yeah, I read the books, like I was in college when I read them, and I literally
Hmm.
devoured them. I went home and read the first one in 3 days, and
Yep.
told my one of my things at school, guidance counselors, I guess they're not counselors, I forget the name, but at
Yeah.
college, and I was like, um, I read it in 3 days. She's like, you read that book in 3 days? I'm like, yeah, I read that book in 3 days.
Yeah, pretty much that's how it went for me too. Love the books, love books.
Yes. And then, if you could choose one movie, what movie would you wanna watch? Any, like, all the time. Like, what's your
Oh,
favorite
oh
movie?
yeah. I would say okay, one movie is really hard, But okay, I'll say like my comfort movie that I watch all the time, especially during the fall season, would be Practical Magic, with Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman. That is one of my favorite movies of all time. Just everything about it, like the aesthetics, the costumes, the hair, the magic, the music, like everything about it. I just wanted to be in that movie, and also it just makes me feel so like warm and fuzzy inside when I watch it. Whenever I'm having a bad day, I'm gonna put on Practical Magic.
I love that one, but I also love Halloween Town. I think Halloween
Oh
Town
yeah.
has to be like
Hmm.
my literal fave. And
Hmm.
then in Christmas time, it's National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. There's
Oh
just
yeah.
something about those two that I'm like, yeah, I can watch it anytime, all the
Hmm.
time. It does
So
not matter.
nostalgic. Yeah. Yeah. I love those ones as well. Those are good ones.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And then, did you always? So the next question is, what did you want to be when you grew up? Did you know it would be acting?
I think I knew from a young age that I wanted to be a performer in some capacity. I but I didn't realize it at first. I just wanted to be everything. I wanted to be a veterinarian. I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be like there's so many things that I wanted to do and that I thought were so cool. Oh, archaeologist. Like, but then I realized that I just want to play these characters. I just
Hmm.
want to be able to do it all. And so, yeah, my mom put me in dance when I was little, so I was a dancer. And then I wanted to act. Like I realized I wanted to act probably like, I don't know, 10 years old. And she said no. So I kept dancing. I kept dancing, then I went into musical theater, and then yeah, pretty much decided to, pursue acting when I was able to drive and drive myself to auditions. But I always knew that I wanted to be a million different things. And so I feel like it was acting was the only option, really.
My thing was, what was it? I wanted to be a nurse at first because my
Hmm.
grandmother was a nurse, and then I realized I couldn't stand the sight of blood. And then I wanted to be a teacher, oddly
Yeah.
enough. And those are the two things that I have always like dreamed of being in my life. And then somehow I ended up in retail and food and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So
That's what always
that,
happens. I
yeah,
ended
it's
up in marketing
crazy.
also, so it's like, okay.
Yeah, it's crazy the way life just like turns all of a sudden. You're like, yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't expect that one.
Hmm. Yep.
If someone was going to make your life into a vertical, who would you want to star in it?
Okay, I did think about this question, and gosh, it's really hard. But I'm not going to pick a vertical star. I think I would want probably Isabella Merced to play me in a vertical because I really feel like I am similar to her in terms of her like acting style and her essence, and she's just an incredible actor. Everything that she's ever done, I'm like, yes, that is the goal. So if she could portray me, I'd love to see it. She plays queer characters very well, Last of Us. So I'd love
Ooh.
to see that part of her portray my story. I think that'd be really cool.
I think that's one thing that we definitely need more in verticals is
Hmm.
LGBTQ plus romance, but
Yeah.
done well. Done
Yeah, I
well. You,
agree. And women, because there
um,
are a couple male ones, but yeah, we definitely need
yeah,
some female ones for
yeah,
sure.
yes, we
Yeah.
definitely need some female ones because we
Hmm.
have some really great male. Well, my favorite is a drama box one.
Yeah.
But I have some really great male verticals that I love that are LGBTQ plus. So
Hmm.
yeah, what was well, I guess you kind of discussed it. What was your first performance? I mean, we could take this away from Disney and go into the acting.
Well, it's funny that you say like what was your first performance, not Disney, but actually when I was in dance, we had recital, and I remember like the first time that I was given like a role was I was the Stingray in The Little Mermaid. That was my first performance. And I don't think I had like any lines or anything because it was just dance, but I got a little
Hmm.
solo and I just thought, oh my gosh, like this is it. And I remember there was a girl who was playing Jasmine and I looked at her and I was just like, I want to be that. I want to be Jasmine. I want to be the lead. So yeah, that was my first performance and I loved every second of it. I ate it up.
I think the only thing I would have close to her first performance is me doing Stone Soup. I don't know if you remember that as a kid, but in school we used to have this poem called Stone Soup, and then we were put on a production
Yeah.
play for it. And
Yeah,
I
I think I do remember
remember being a little kid in rehearsals in first grade
that.
doing Stone Soup.
Yeah. It was like I do remember that actually. That's crazy. Like that's been a long time since I've heard that. But yeah, I was always volunteering for those types of things too. Like in English class when we were reading Shakespeare and they're like, who wants to be, Lady Macbeth? I was like like I wanted to do it all. I was like anything to perform. So
I find it funny that I love to interview and cosplay and stuff, but I never
mhm.
wanted to do the acting portion. And I think
Yeah.
it's because I've always been more of a writer at my heart.
Hmm.
Um and so I've always loved to write even younger. So I think that would be something if like I ever did anything like theater wise or anything like that, it would be writing
Yeah.
because that's one of my favorite things.
I would love to see that. Give
I,
it a
I'll,
go.
I'll message you something later and tell you more, okay?
Okay.
What type of rehearsal schedules do you guys have on verticals? If you can give us like
Yeah.
an insight into that.
Well, it definitely depends on the production. I think it varies each time. Like there's been times where I get cast in something and literally start filming the next day. No fitting, no rehearsal, nothing. And then recently I have started to see that, let's say we get cast, and then usually the next week there will be a virtual table read. And then the next day after that, you would go to a fitting, and then you'll probably start filming a couple days after that. So there isn't really technically like rehearsal. It's more so they're trying to just do whatever they can to minimize wasting time on the day that we're actually filming. Any type of rehearsal that I've ever gotten has been like 5 minutes before we actually start filming the scene. Like, okay, let's block this really quick. And then they're like, all right, go. But I will say, like, I think for people that are doing leads mostly, I have seen some sort of day where they do a fitting and a rehearsal. So I don't know what really entails with that, but I'm more so probably for intimacy. I think that they're starting to have like a prep day where they discuss with the actors beforehand. I've only ever had to have like a phone call to discuss, but I think for like the bigger, intimacy heavy verticals, they definitely are starting to have a little prep rehearsal day, which is good. But yeah, most of the time it's very last minute. It definitely varies though, because I think like for some platforms, like Drama Box, for example, they tend to be kind of ahead of schedule. So like I'll know like 2 weeks before I start filming, so I have time to memorize my lines. But then there are other platforms that are like, hey, we start filming in 2 days, and then script isn't even locked until the day before. So there's not much you can do about that.
So that leads me into another question that's not on
Hmm.
here, but um, the fight scene between you and Caitlyn
Hmm.
in the last vertical. Now, was that like pre-rehearsed, or did you guys have to rehearse then go automatically into the scene?
Yeah, so in my Miracle Luna, that was like my favorite fight scene I've ever done. Also, like it was just everything about like my fantasy, like I just loved it. But no, that was on the day. So they just made sure to block off. I think they blocked off like 2 hours to film that scene. Which if this were like a horizontal CW show, they would probably take about 7 hours to film that scene, maybe even more. But 2 hours in a vertical is actually a lot of time to film one scene. Usually they give us like an hour, 45 minutes, an hour. So we had a stunt coordinator. She was there. She had in her mind already like what she wanted us to do. So she was just teaching us right before. And we basically just like learned the choreography and did it like maybe 5, 6 times. Then they switched angles, so we were able to adjust as things went along. But yeah, it was really quick, and luckily, me and Caitlin both just like kind of picked it up quickly because sometimes that's not the case. And we were just ready to like go for it, so it worked out. But yeah, I think as long as the stunt coordinator like she knew what she wanted to do, that's kind of what made it go faster. Because like she was just telling us exactly, here's where you're going to hit. This is the move you're going to do. This is how you position yourself. So we were able to pick that up. And I think one thing that she told me too is that former dancers pick up stunt choreography quicker than most people. And I think Caitlin used to dance as well. So we both kind of just like understood what we needed to do. Like choreography, stunt choreography is, like dance choreography. You're not actually fighting with each other. It's just like coordinated movements, like a dance. So
Hmm.
yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, I was like really impressed in that scene.
Yeah,
Like
that
I
was
just
really fun.
remember watching that scene and I was like, whoa.
Hmm.
And we've had a conversation about this, but yeah, they had the splitting scene at the
Yeah,
end,
yeah,
and I was like, oh my god, like that was intense.
yeah. That was like, I think I told you, but that was what I pitched to the director because the male character is supposed to come in and be like, "What are you doing?" and like bring his girl out or whatever. And my character was supposed to be really mad, and so she's supposed to like punch me and like choke me out. And so I asked Elizabeth, I was like, "Can I like spit out blood or something?" And she's like, "Do you want to do that?" I was like, "Yeah, of course." So then I had to have the blood like sitting in my mouth
Hmm.
for that whole part where I'm still talking. So I'm kind of like talking with like a bunch of liquid in my mouth. And then when they finally leave is when I can spit it. And she's like, I don't know if they'll use that, but I'm glad we did it. I was like, me too. So,
I'm glad they kept it in because it really
mhm.
made the like impact of the whole scene,
Yeah.
and it was just like really overly cool. Like there, like drama box I have seen, I've
Hmm.
been really impressed with a lot of their newer verticals recently.
Yeah,
It's just a lot more change, and I'm glad that they're starting to turn that way.
they are. From people that I've heard that, work at Drama Box, are aware that people want to see different stuff and they are trying to push the envelope. So that's been fun to witness for sure.
Hmm. And then, what techniques do you use to get into a role? Is there anything that you use that you can think of?
Um, like we've said before, typically I do villains right now. So I just look at classic villains that everyone loves to channel, right? So it depends on the role, but I would say like my favorite villain to channel would be Chanel Oberlin from Scream Queens. If you've seen that show, because she's a terrible person, but the way that Emma Roberts portrays her is you love watching her and you love to hate her. Like she could be saying the most hateful, horrible things, but somehow the way that she delivers it is comedic in a way. So you're not just like, oh my God, like this woman is just awful. It's like, oh my gosh, but I'm gonna keep watching. And so I really love to bring comedy into my villains because it's also more interesting to watch. Like, who wants to watch someone just be evil for evil's sake and be so serious? I, I want to be funny. I have gotten the note, where they're like, we need you to be more serious. Like, you're being too funny. And so I'm like, all right, fine, I'll tone it down. But for the most part, I just try to be like a petulant child because that's really what they are at the end of the day. So yeah, I love
Hmm.
channeling her. I love channeling Regina George from, Mean Girls, obviously. And sometimes even, the dumb ones. Like in, they changed the name, but it was called Why Sisters Kill. We had three villains, and we were like a little trio of villains. So we all decided to give ourselves different personality traits. So like the main villain, she was just like the leader of the group. She was just awful and still kind of funny, but leading us. I was the dumb one. So like I would just follow whatever she's saying and like I'm being horrible but like being dumb like oh my god, yeah, like let's kill her. And then the other girl was like the scared one, and just so we gave ourselves that personality trait, which is how you make it fun. So yeah, otherwise it would just be three mean girls for absolutely no discernible personalities. So yeah,
Yeah, I just
that's my
got Sarah
process.
Jessica Parker in my head there, from Hocus Pocus. Like just
Yeah,
being like the, the like blah 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 blah. Like I just got the Hocus Pocus sisters in
yeah,
my
that is a great one. That is a great one because yeah, like even for the Sanderson sisters, they're evil, they're terrible, but you love watching them and they have qualities that make you like them in a way. So if there's a chance, sometimes the scripts it's very hard to give myself that because I'm like this girl is just irredeemable, but I do try to sprinkle in some likable qualities or at least
yeah.
entertaining qualities.
And not to get too off topic here, but I
Yeah.
love that because Jennifer, oh god, I cannot think of Jennifer's name off the top of my head, but Jennifer is another villain in the Verticals, and she kind of does that too. And then of course
Mhm.
Sarah Malinsky does that too in her
Yeah.
villains, and it's like the craziest thing, over the top, but also very funny at the same time, and you're just
Yeah.
like, yes, yes.
Yes, exactly. Hmm.
What do you think makes a performance most believable?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's just fully buying into the circumstances that you're given. So, with verticals, we know that they're very soapy, they're very dramatic, they're very over the top, but you can't judge it while you're in it. Otherwise,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to come off worse. If you're getting the direction to act over the top, but you're not being over the top and you're not buying into it, then it's going to be awkward for people to watch. And it's awkward for everybody involved too, like being in the scene. So I think it's just about kind of just going for it and understanding the genre that you're in. And yeah, just kind of buying into whatever circumstance it is, and all of us are laughing behind the scenes and we're just like this is insane. um but we're all just understanding what we need to do. So I would say that's the biggest, I think, believable thing. And then for dramatic performances, ones where you have to like cry, like you know for an hour straight sometimes for these, I think for me I relate it, which probably isn't the healthiest thing, but I relate it back to a personal thing that I've been through that makes me cry, um, which is like crazy because sometimes I'm just like emotionally scarring myself. But whatever I need to do to get in that mindset. But I just try to either, yeah, think of something that has actually hurt me, or think of something that makes me feel really deeply, and just like let myself feel those feelings. You have to really be in tune with your emotions and allow yourself to let them out, because it can be really cathartic in a way. So yeah.
Okay, so Haley, Lorelai, and Brooke Mottram were talking about this the other day on their live,
Hmm.
and Brooke was saying that she has to drink a lot of water when
Yeah.
she does those like dramatic scenes because of the tears and stuff. Like it will
Yeah.
drain her. Are like, do you get the same way? Like, do you feel like you have to have a lot of water during those scenes where like you guys have to cry, or like, can
Yeah.
you cry on command? Like,
Hmm. Yeah, that's a really good point. Being dramatic in any way, even if I'm not crying from sadness, but like a lot of the time for villains, you're crying from anger. So very big and like tense, and yeah, I get a headache immediately after. Like anytime I have to do an audition or a scene where I know that I have to be screaming, crying, throwing up, like I'm like, oh gosh, like I'm gonna feel this after. So I drink a lot of electrolytes, because that really like replenishes me immediately. But definitely on set, I'm feeling dehydrated 100% of the time. So, yeah, drinking a lot of water and just like fueling your body in general because it's very, not only emotionally, but yeah, physically taxing, to just be in that state for prolonged periods of time. Because, yeah, it can start to feel very draining for sure.
I always describe verticals. I always take them. I am like, it's Knots Landing or it's Dynasty. And like if you grew up with Knots
Hmm.
Landing and Dynasty in Dallas, you
Yeah.
usually get what I'm saying. It's just that dramaticness, that intensity of like, oh, it's just time to slap her for no reason.
Yeah. I mean, I say, yeah, it's like soap operas on steroids, I think. Because sometimes they're more dramatic than some of the soaps I've seen. So I'm just like, okay, that's the world we're living in. That's fine.
I'm telling you though, but they really are funny. Like they're good,
Hmm.
but they're funny at the same time. I always tell people like it doesn't.
Yeah.
If I call a vertical cheesy, it doesn't mean that it's like bad.
Yeah.
It's that typical verticalness that you like expect.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Whenever, yeah, people that have never seen them before ask me, like, oh my gosh, is this you? And I'm like, yeah, it is. Let me just give you a quick disclaimer, though, about what you're about to watch. Like, you're not going to see an Oscar-worthy performance from me, but maybe a daytime Emmy one day, who knows?
Yeah. And
It's very different.
I always tell people too, like I'm like I've seen actors literally have to explain what a vertical is
Yeah.
because people think when you say the word vertical, it means something else.
Hmm.
And I'm like, "Oh my God, how can people think that?" It's like I'm like investigate before you assume.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, there are people that still don't know. I usually, if people ask me like, "Oh, what are you working on recently? What are you acting in?" Like family members, and I tell them, "Oh, I'm working on like mini soap operas that are like on your phone." That's
Hmm.
usually the word that I'll use because I'm used to saying verticals. Everyone in the industry is used to saying verticals, but a lot of people don't know, what that is. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I call them too. I'm like, it's just mini soap operas you can watch on your phone instead of
Yeah.
on TV.
Yeah, exactly. Hmm.
What do you believe is the most challenging aspect of being an actor?
Oh gosh. I mean, it's a very challenging industry for so many reasons. I think for me personally, recently, it's I mean, always rejection, right? Like the whole job is rejection, you know, and you don't have any control over it.
Hmm.
I think what's been difficult for me is barriers to entry. So, a lot of people not even being allowed in the room to audition for something that can be frustrating. And comparing yourself to other people that are in the industry with you, and trying not to compare your career to theirs because everybody is so different. And with for example, like if you're going to nursing school, you go to nursing school and you become a nurse and you're a nurse. But for acting, you could have a friend that this is their first year in LA and they just got an agent and they book a series regular. And then you have someone that has been here for 10 years pursuing it and still have nothing to show for it, in terms of like traditional success. So it can be hard to navigate that, but you just have to really, stay true to your own journey and not compare. That's the biggest thing.
I think it's a lot harder for American actors and actresses, though. And I think part of that product plays into the factor that as Americans, we look at as like this famous thing, like celebrity, I call it
Hmm.
celebrityism, where it's like we put actors and actresses on pedestals.
Yeah.
And we don't really look at their work, but we're like, oh, what's the latest big thing they've been into?
Yeah.
What, as to where I've always been different in that aspect that I'm like, oh, how did they do that? Why would they do that? Like, what made them think that like that scene worked well, or was that line perfect, or like that type of thing? Because
Yeah.
they're saying there are certain vertical actresses and that I'm like Faith Orta being one. She's one of my favorites. She
Hmm.
can deliver lines like no tomorrow, and I'm like, girl, you just hit every line just like perfectly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the talent you possess. And I look at it that way, but other people tend to be like, oh, this is a famous person. And I'm like, no, this is a person working, just like I would be working a retail job or an author
Hmm.
putting out a book or, things like that. So I think
Yeah.
we tend to look at it differently here in America versus like Europe
Yeah.
or
I
other
think they're
parts of
more
the world.
like respected for the artistry, and I think that's why a lot of big celebrities move out of the country is because they're like they can walk around in London and not get stopped by, people. So yeah, I think that is interesting. And yeah, the way that we measure success too is like how many followers do you have? Oh, like, why don't I know who you are? And it's like, there's a lot of working actors out there that you've never heard of. You don't know their name, but you see them in a bunch of stuff and they're working
Mm-hmm.
and they've been working for
Yep.
years. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I'm starting to pick it up with commercials. I
Oh
see it
gosh, yeah.
sometimes. I'm like, oh, that's so and so. Or
Hmm.
like go back to Halloween Town. Kimberly J. Brown, who played in Halloween Town, she did a soap opera that my mom used to watch years and years ago. And so
Yeah.
I'm like, to me, she's always that soap opera character. And
Hmm.
then everybody else recognizes her as Marnie. And I'm like, no, I
Yeah.
remember her as so and so when she was like 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Yeah.
And so the next one I have is what makes a good scene partner? What do you think makes a good scene partner?
Oh, someone that that you trust and that listens to you and actually is like in the moment and not just waiting to say their next line. That's, a big gift that you can be given, especially with emotionally charged scenes or physical scenes, um, like in terms of stunt choreography. Because if you and the other person that you're acting with both are of the same understanding of like where the scene needs to go, then you just like allow each other to play and you connect with them, actually connect with them and feel real emotions. So that's always really fun because when you're auditioning, sometimes I'm literally reading to nobody and I don't have anybody acting back to me, or you have a reader. But when you're actually in a scene with someone, another actor, and you can both be in it and just like believe each other and look in their eyes and actually hear what they're saying, yeah, you don't know where it's going to go because it's just two people at the end of the day. So that's really it's really rare when it happens, but it's very nice when it does because you're like, wow, that didn't feel like acting. It just felt like two people having a conversation, which was awesome. So yeah.
So I know that the vertical community is like large but also small at the
Hmm.
same time. Are you guys lucky enough to like have friends in the community who you're like, hey, can I run this line by you or can I run this set of lines by you and see how it works? Or is that not a thing?
I think that some people do that probably. I know that a lot of the girls, especially like have, yeah, I think some of the girls are like roommates with each other. And I'm sure that they're constantly helping each other with like auditions and stuff. But a lot of the time, they move so fast that if you ask someone to help you with an audition, like they're probably on set. So it's hard to get people to like really be there. But when you can, yeah, I definitely have people on my roster that I go to like, hey, look, you understand, can we do this together? Most of the time I'm just acting to myself though.
Okay, so what has been your favorite vertical so far? And it can be one you were in, or it could be one that you watched that you like.
Hmm. Well, one that I was in that was my favorite. I think now the list has grown to two, but I would say like my favorite that I was in, it was the one that was called Why Sisters Kill, and it changed to like Payback's Time, Sisters Revenge or something. Like they changed the title to something crazy. But that vertical was really fun for me because it was all female cast. All of the main cast members were all female, and even though we were an evil villain trio and we were just like the most despicable human beings ever and did horrible things to the main character, um, it was just a lot of fun because we all were just laughing and giggling and just being like, this is crazy that we're doing this, but we all just had such a fun time and it was a really unique story, to be able to not just be like the one villain brooding in a corner and actually being able to like have that connection with other people. Yeah, was really really fun, really different, than what I'm normally used to. Because then from then on, if you're the villain, you're usually by yourself, or with like your mom or something like that, or trying to get the guy to like you and they hate you. So it's like it's lonely being a villain most of the time. So yeah, and then the other one after that would be probably My Miracle Luna because just the costumes and the ambiance of the whole production was just so, Vampire Diaries, Twilight, and that's my jam. So that was really fun to be a part of. I got to live that fantasy dream.
Griffin is one of my favorite male actors in
Hmm.
the community. So I always am like excited when I know that he's doing a project, and then I'm
Yeah.
like rushing to watch it. And then to see you and Caitlin, and it's always funny because I'd be watching it for like the main characters, and then I'm like, oh my God, so and so's in here as a villain. Oh, that's cool. That just
Hmm.
adds to it.
Yeah.
And it's just the craziest thing, like out of nowhere. I'll be like, oh, so and so is here in the villain. Like you did one with Tim Stein a while back, and I think
Hmm.
Mariah was in it. And when I see the promos, I'm like, oh, Chelsea's the villain. Okay.
Oh, thank you. No, but see, like they need to market that because, a lot of the times, yeah, people don't know that I'm in it because I'm never in the poster, which is fine. But,
Mm-hmm.
people do tell me like, "Oh, I saw that you were the villain and I watched it." I'm like, "Wow, like that's crazy to hear. Like I did not expect that." So that's really nice when I hear that.
Yeah, it's always crazy to me because Marie, oh God, what's Marie? I cannot. Marie DeWitt. Marie DeWitt. She
Hmm.
will go back and forth. She'll be the heroine and then she'll
Yeah.
be the villain. And then
Hmm.
I'm like, oh, Marie's a villain in this one? I didn't know Marie was a villain in this one. And then I start laughing and cracking up because I know she can play like hero spots. And
Yeah.
just watching her as a villain, it makes it much like it makes it funnier to me
Yeah.
because it's just cheesy goodness. And then I'm like, girlfriend, I love you. I know you can play the hero, but it's funny to watch you as the villain.
Yeah, I think it'll be really jarring for people when they see me in something other than a villain. But it's funny
Mhm.
because like the first role that I think people started noticing was when I was with Kirby and cohabitating, and I was the best friend. I was like a happy-go-lucky person, and I would get people messaging me being like, "You were so sweet. I loved your character," and they would follow me from that. And I'm like, "Just wait, just wait." That's the last time you'll see me be nice for a very long time.
I honestly, I always tell you this. Like, literally wish they would give the villains
Hmm.
hero spots as well because I would like to see like trade offs. I'd like to see
Hmm.
some of the girls who play the heroes become villains, and some of the girls who play the villains become the heroes because I
Yeah.
think they really honestly are like losing out on that double edged sword that they could easily have there,
Yeah.
and to swap them out and like trade them up a little bit in this essentially.
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know
just like, we talked about Mean Girls, like Rachel McAdams, like she was in The Notebook and Mean Girls in the same year. So it's like it
hmm
is possible for people to be able to do both. It's
hmm
very hard for these apps right now to see, oh, you're a villain. Oh, I just can't see it. Can't imagine it.
hmm
Like that's what we do is we imagine and we create. Like give us the chance to do it. I think that's yeah, something that needs to grow for sure in this space.
Yeah, and I definitely think a lot of it's gonna come from us fans asking for it because
Yeah.
I'm starting to know that change in verticals because us fans are asking for it. And we're starting
Yeah.
to ask for the more deep in depth verticals or the more
Hmm.
verticals that don't have as many slaps in it or as many like spicy
Totally.
scenes or things like that.
Oh yeah.
So hopefully it continues on and we can also
Yeah,
get
we'll
them to
see.
listen to
Hmm.
the villains becoming heroes.
I know. Yeah, because people are multifaceted. So it's like even if there's an anti-hero type situation, like there are people that can be the main person and the protagonist, but they have flaws and they're not a perfect angel. That could be
hmm
something that we could explore. Personally, my favorite types of projects and TV shows to watch are when the main character is unlikable because they're flawed and that's just interesting. So yeah, I think that yeah, hopefully there will be something that happens in that realm.
Yeah, hopefully. I one of my favorite shows has always been Once Upon a Time because it
Mhm.
showed you that not all villains are evil and not all
Yeah,
good people are good. Not
love
all
that show.
heroes are good. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's always been one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, love that show.
So, who do you look up to? Like, who's one of your favorite actors or directors that you admire their work and that you have looked up to it?
Um, there's a lot, but I will say like the first person that comes to mind is Florence Pugh. I've always looked up to her career trajectory and the projects that she decides to do. I think that she is not defined by any one genre, and she is just willing to play and willing to go there and not look pretty all the time. She allows herself to just be free. And yeah, her gosh, she's just incredible. I anything that she's in, I'm sad. So, yeah, really, really love
Yeah,
her.
she was one of the first Amy's that I actually liked
That's what a lot
in
of people
Little
say.
Women.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge Little Women fan. I
Mhm.
don't think I've ever told you this, but like my great aunt, my great grandmother, her last name was actually March,
Oh.
and there were five girls in the family. And so I've always loved Little Women since I was a little girl, and so to
Hmm.
find out that factor, I was like over the moon.
Yeah.
But Florence as Amy, she was literally my favorite Amy, and I've seen so many,
Hmm.
and I'm like, yeah, you just hit the nail. You're my favorite Amy. And Scarlett Johansson was quoted as saying that like she has the best story arc in Marvel right now, and I
Yeah.
100% agree. She has literally the best story arc in Marvel compared to everyone else that I've seen,
Yeah.
and it's just fabulous to watch her as Yelena and to take on this role and to make it her own and not really live in that shadow that
Hmm.
Scarlett created as Natasha.
Yeah. It takes a very talented person to step out of like the boundaries that she's been given in certain roles, including that one, and she just does it, and she's very fearless in her acting, which I think is hard for people to do. I mean, it's hard for me, like it's hard for anybody, but I feel like she's always just gone there. And her first role she got from like an open casting call. Like she didn't even have an agent. She wasn't famous. Like she just, I think that she's just always been herself, which translates on screen just very naturally. And yeah, it's really great to watch. Masterclass in acting for sure.
Yeah, I always tell people you're either gonna like me or you're gonna hate me because I'm always
Hmm.
gonna be myself. And it
Hmm.
cracks me up how many people like literally think like that's like just an expression. And I'm like, no, no, you're getting me. Like all 100% me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the only way to be, honestly. I think at some point it just gets exhausting trying to do anything else. So, yeah.
It really does. And especially like I am mildly autistic. So dealing with that my whole life and not knowing like I was
Mhm.
diagnosed very late in life and not knowing that and then finding that out and like learning so many things about myself and then starting to unmask and pull off that perfection screen that I had,
Hmm.
and I'm just like at the point where I'm like I am too old to be trying to perfect this or be somebody you want me to be.
Yeah.
I'm me, whether you like it or not, buddy. So, next question. Who's the funniest person you've ever worked with on set?
Oh, definitely Skylar. Uh, why can't I remember her last name right now? Fast.
I, yeah,
Um, she is
I can
hilarious.
already see it. I can already see
Yeah.
it. I've seen
Well,
some of
actually,
her
both of the
verticals.
Skylers, both of them actually. There's two Skylers that I've worked with, and they're both hilarious. But yeah, on Why Sisters Kill, the Skylar was the main, or I'm sorry, not Skylar, Skyla. That's why I couldn't remember it. Skyla Lynn. She was the main villain in Why Sisters Kill, and everything that she did just made me laugh so hard. Like after every take, I just could not stop laughing. The way that she played that character was insane. And I also just loved her attitude, like with setting boundaries when she needed to, and taking the space that she needed to. That was like my second vertical that I worked on. So I learned a lot from her in terms of, taking my space and my time when I needed it and not being afraid to say no. And she just ran that. set, honestly. So I just kept saying to her, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I need to take a lesson from you. I'm way too agreeable. I'm way too nice.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah,
I like that. I really like that because I think as women, we all tend to not be able to say no as often as we should.
yeah.
And a lot of us don't understand that no is one sentence. That's the sentence itself. We don't
Hmm.
need to explain. We don't need to add to it. We just need to be like, excuse me, no.
Yeah. Yeah. And she was a
Like,
joy to work with and everyone loved her, but she knew how to like just do what she needed to do so that she could give a good performance and not wear herself out in that moment. And so I really appreciated that. Same with just like learning about, stunts. That was like a really stunt heavy project. And there was things that she suggested that maybe we could change, that would make it safer. And I was like, oh, you can do that. And so it was really nice to be in that presence. But yeah, she's also just like such a funny person. Like anything she said just made me crack up. All three of us, all the three villain girls, we were just like chopping it up all the time. So yeah, that was really fun.
yeah, I think I would have been one of those, like, I would have been in there and been like, what? Like, teach me your ways because, like,
I
I'm always
was.
in
Yeah.
awe of somebody who can, like, do something so well and do it without the, as I used to say, my mom didn't care. Like, she would tell you her opinion and it'd be like, that was it. And,
Hmm.
I admire people who can do that, but do it in a classy, like, respectful way. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. She's a professional for sure.
What do you do when you're not working on verticals?
Auditioning mostly. That's probably the main other thing that I'm doing. But I work a full-time job, so not glamorous at all. But I'm either working, auditioning, or hanging out with my animals. I have 6 animals, so that's
Oh, that's
usually.
funny.
Hmm. I'm a
That's funny
homebody.
because I am too. I am too. But it's so funny because my cat is right here in front of me, just like
Oh.
sitting here chilling,
Hmm.
and it's so funny to me because I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of things where I'm like, yeah, that's I'm the same way. I'm the same
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
I think that's why we when we first started talking to each other, we just like instantly bonded,
Hmm.
and it was just like an easy road between the two of us. And
I agree.
I was like, I just love this girl. I just love her so much.
Well, also we're both Pisces, so I think that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
we are both Pisces. And that's also easy. Like I love my water signs. Those are
Yeah,
like
same.
literally my people, you know.
Yeah.
What do you do when you're not Oh no. Sorry. If you had a magic wand, what type of vertical would you want to do?
Ooh, great question. I mean, I feel like I have to say like queer
Mhm.
vertical. But I want to do like a cozy Christmas queer vertical. I think Tasha actually gave me this idea. Sorry, girl. But yeah, like she suggested that to me and I was like, yes, that's where I need to be immediately. But just something that doesn't end in tragedy. I think that I there's definitely a need for queer tragic stories.
Mhm.
But I would just love like a happy-go-lucky one where they end up together and nobody is getting abused or dying.
Mhm.
That would be really nice. And yeah, I mean, I fear for when there will start being, um, you know, queer women, queer verticals, because I can just think of some of the insults that they're going to sling in there. So
Mhm.
I don't know. We need to make some strides before that happens. But I think that would be really cool. Or, like I said before, I would love to be in like a Hunger Games type vertical. I think like there's so much room for them to do more like fantasy, like stunt heavy verticals where they actually take the time to like really flesh out the stunts and the VFX, and that could be really cool. I want to be like a Katniss. I think that's my dream.
I think one of my favorite verticals is with Cayman Cardoff and Georgia White, and it's a Christmas vertical, and he's
Hmm.
essentially like a football player, former football player, toy store owner, and he falls in love with his employee, and she gets, pregnant and stuff.
Hmm.
But I think the reason that it's my favorite is because it takes place at Christmas time. It's different from all of the other Christmas verticals I have seen,
Hmm.
and it feels more like something you would see on Hallmark
Yeah,
versus the vertical community.
love that.
And I think a lot of these I get that they're gonna continue doing these cheesy she gets pregnant immediately verticals, but I think a lot more of them need to be placed around like holiday times. And we
Yeah,
need a lot more like,
agreed.
oh, this happened at Halloween time and they're out trick or treating with the children that they just found
Yeah.
out were theirs, and cute little things like that would be
Hmm.
such an added touch to these verticals. Or
Oh
like,
yeah. I mean, speaking of like a Halloween theme, I would love to be in like a horror. Like psychological thriller and horror is my favorite genre. So, if I could be screaming for my life from like a, serial killer and like a slasher, that would be really fun. I would love to
yeah.
do that.
And Real Short just did one with Grace Swanson that
I
is
did see
like
that. Hmm.
it's like with the bride. The bride gets hunted on her wedding or whatever, and
Yep.
I'm like, it's very tamed down compared to what you've seen, but
Hmm.
I'm like, do more, do more, like
Yeah, I know. I'm surprised they haven't done more, but maybe there's more in the works. I don't know. I haven't seen any,
I
but
I've known I know a couple of people who have written some,
hmm.
and they're hesitant to pick them up. And
Yeah.
I'm like, why? You just had this one right here that this person just wrote was a smash hit for you. Like,
Yeah.
give their horror a chance.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
I
So
know.
yeah, it would be awesome to see more. I'm not a horror fan, but I like psychological horror, like
Hmm.
Hitchcock.
Yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
I definitely like stuff like that.
Hmm.
What which character have you played or seen that you love the most?
Hmm. Well, as far as ones that I've played, not in the vertical world, but I have a film that I did that was like a zombie thriller that hasn't come out yet, but it's called Separate Ways, and it was so far my favorite character that I've played, just because immediately I felt like I understood the character and the circumstances that she was in, and it's like, imagine the zombie apocalypse starts and you lose everything you love on the first day, and then reconciling with that, it was very emotional and emotionally taxing, but I just felt really at ease, and I had such a great time filming that project, and I'm so excited to see it. I'm so excited for everyone else to see it, and to see me in something other than like a villain role, I think will be really, really just, I don't know, eye opening for people. So yeah, I liked being in that world. Like I love apocalyptic movies and sci-fi and thrillers. So to be able to like live in that and hunt zombies and be a badass, that was pretty fun.
Yeah, oh, I have to message you the movie later because I can't think it off the top of my head. But
Hmm.
I think my only favorite zombie movie is that zombie movie where she fell in love with the zombie, and then they were like, it was
Oh, Warm Bodies? Is that what it's
yes,
called?
yes,
Yeah. Love that movie.
yes.
That's a
I
fun
love that movie
one.
because it's about zombies, but it's also really funny, and I think that's the
Yeah.
reason I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I understand like it's not for everyone, like scary zombie stuff. I love being scared. I've always been into that. Like as a child, my favorite movies were all scary movies. So I've just always been in that world, I guess.
I think mine's have a lot of traumatic connection to it because my
Mhm.
uncle always thought it was funny. Like we would
Oh.
try to watch scary movies and have the stomach to watch them.
Hmm.
And we started on the worst scary movies, which were Freddy Krueger. And
Yeah.
so my uncle used to like scare us
Hmm.
for fun. And I'm like, thinking back on it
Yeah.
now, I'm like, why, why? Why? Because
You
I
really
can
ruined it for me,
very,
dude. Thank you.
yeah, I can very rarely watch horror movies. It has to be a certain level of horror and a certain type. And then I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm good with that. But
Yeah.
like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Freddy Krueger, all of those
Hmm.
type, I'm like, no, thank you. Next.
Yeah. I understand. I understand.
What is the biggest challenge that you face taking on any of your roles?
Um, I would say as far as, verticals go, it's just not judging the character. Most of the time, like the villains are just you don't really know their motivation. They don't give you a motivation because they're just like she's just evil and she hates the girl and you're like, "But why?" So I think the biggest challenge is trying to make them human, and not judging them because you want to give a good performance and you want it to feel real. So I think I just try to give them my own reasoning and I don't even bother asking. I'm like, this is why she's this way. And so just giving them like a redeemable quality. Um, yeah, I think that's probably the biggest challenge. And actually having to say some of the things that I say to people, like to another actor, they're a sweet human. I don't want to insult them. I don't want to say these really horrible things to them. We all know that it's a job. We all know we're acting, but there are still some things that I think can change in that realm, like as far as the insults go, because it's just not only like offensive, um, but just not okay to say anymore. So that's been the biggest challenge, I think, is deciding like when to push back and be like, I actually cannot say this or do this, um, for my own moral beliefs, and knowing when it's like pertinent to the story and to the character.
Yeah, I think I how ooh, what? What the hell? Oh my god. Stop doing that.
What happened?
My screen is like acting up and it will not
Mm.
let me like it's like crazy. It's like asking me to do like a what weird puzzle piece all of a sudden and I'm like, why?
Oh.
Like it's the weirdest thing. I think how we met on the and I cannot think of the title off the top of my head, but we started talking because of the one that you did with Tyler
Mm.
over on Drama Box.
Yes.
And we were talking about the fact that a lot of the stuff I was very impressed by that vertical because like you could see where they were going with that vertical, but it was like really reared back and really pulled back and it was not where they intended that vertical to go.
Hmm.
And I was that was like one of my favorite things because I'm like I can see what they're trying to do here and I'm like, I'm impressed
Hmm.
that they're not as deep as they could have gone on that one. And I think that that's like a perfect example of what you were talking about because of the whole like age gap relationship in
Hmm.
that one.
Yeah.
And your character was a villain in that one. I think that was for me. That was like the nastiest villain that you played.
Really? You think so?
Yeah,
She was pretty
because you
horrible, huh?
were, yeah, because this girl was like younger than you, and you're like, it always
I
cracks
know.
me up how they're like, oh, the reason that you hate her is because she took your man, and but he's not really your man. Like,
Right. Yeah, the whole time we were shooting that, I just kept saying like I should really be mad at Tyler, like not the girl. Like she's being groomed by this man.
mm-hmm, yeah,
So yeah.
and I
I
was
said
like,
like, he needs to be with someone more age appropriate. Like that was my motivation for that one is like, why are you with your best friend's daughter? Like, come on, dude.
mm-hmm, yeah, and I always am surprised. Like I'm surprised. Like there were a couple of female actors that I looked at, and I'm like, they
Hmm.
gotta be at least 23, 24, 25. And then to come to find out that they were celebrating their 21st birthday this year,
I
and
know.
I'm like, the
Oh
verticals.
gosh. Yeah, I
the
know.
the it's like insane. And I really feel like, for me personally, like, as I watch the time go on, some of these women are kind of like, I feel like they're pushed into these roles, and I'm like, these
Mm.
women are so talented, and you're taking advantage of the fact that they're so young and they
Yeah, I
could
mean,
be doing.
I know. I think of when I was, 18, 19, and I wasn't living in LA, but I was like driving here for auditions and for jobs. And there's a couple things that I did. Verticals didn't exist, but like there's a couple things that I did where looking back now, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe I put myself in that situation and allowed myself to be pressured into doing this type of scene or whatever it was. And so I'm glad that we have, intimacy coordinators and things like that. There are still things that happen for sure. And I'm sure there are still girls that get, pressured into certain things that they shouldn't be doing. But at least there's some sort of precaution. But yeah, like a lot of the times when I'm on set and I'm the oldest person, I feel like I need to like, you know, take these girls under my wing and like protect them. Like for Captain's Baby Girl, that was Emma's first vertical. She was the lead, and it was a very intimacy heavy vertical. And I just told her, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is your first one. Like, if I were you and I was your age, I would be like peeing my pants every day. Like, you're so brave. But I just was like, look, if you need someone to be a bitch and say something, like just tell me, I'll do it. Like I've gotten to the point where I feel comfortable doing that. So if you need someone to do that for you, I got you. Because when you're young, you want to be agreeable. You want to just do whatever you need to do to make everybody happy, and you don't want to be difficult. That's the thing that we don't want to be difficult. And I still struggle with that for sure. I definitely do. I'm not perfect. But I think, yeah, as I've gotten more experience, I know when to be like, enough is enough. And yeah, so some of the things that these girls do though at 19, I could never, I would chicken out immediately. So they're brave.
Yeah, they really are. And like, I admire all of the women in the vertical community. This is no
Mhm.
diss on them whatsoever. It's just that I'm like, you're how old? Wait,
Yeah.
that's like like, that's the oldest. That's the age of my oldest daughter. Like
Hmm.
you're how old? Like,
Yeah.
what? You know. But I'm also the same way. Like, I'm working on it, but I also tend to have that habit of being agreeable
Hmm.
when I should really be like, oh, no, hold up. But
Yeah.
then I also tell people, I'm like, you're gonna push me too far, and you're not gonna like the person you meet. So, like, we need to
Yeah.
find a balance here.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny because like when it comes to myself, I feel like I can be very timid and too agreeable. But then when it comes to other people, if I am protecting you, like I will go there and I'm not shy about it. So I need to like bring some of that onto my own. I think it's because I've just been always like, oh, I can handle it. I can handle it. Like I'm good. But then with everybody else, I'm very protective of them and I want to, be that like mama bear to them. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm the same way. It's so funny because, like, especially in the vertical community with some of the actors, and I see some stuff other fans say about them, I'm like, who gave you the right to talk that way? Like,
Yeah.
why are you such a bully for? Like, this is just a person doing their job. Like, why are you so hateful for? And but
Hmm.
when it comes to me, I'm like, oh, throw whatever you want at me. Like, I'm not gonna like say anything about it. But like when I see other younger women, especially, I'm like very protective of them.
Yeah.
And I think it's just coming from a mindset of like working in retail or
Hmm.
working in food, where older women used to like, I used to go into a mindset where women, like older women, were mean to us. And
Mm.
now that I'm older, I'm like, that's not gonna happen with me. You're not gonna
Yeah.
pick on that young girl. Who do you think you are? Like, get out of here. Like, I'll fight you back. Like, I am not that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without giving anything away, what's your favorite line of dialogue that you've ever delivered?
Oh, okay. I thought about this and I truly could not think of a specific line. It's so hard to remember, but I would say like I did some insult on my Miracle Luna, werewolf, where I was like, oh, stupid pup. Like anytime that I got to like call someone a pup because it's a werewolf, it's like a pun. I was like, yes, I love that. I would say that's probably. I'm sure there are others, but I just truly cannot remember. After I say the line, I just have to like forget about it. Otherwise, I'll dwell.
It's so funny that you mentioned that because over on Bigelow, Cayman Kardoff had a werewolf one recently, and
Uh-huh.
he has a line. There's a line in there where the villain, female villain, gets to call him a chihuahua,
Oh, see,
or
that
gets to
is funny.
compare him to a chihuahua, and
That
I'm
is
like,
funny.
that
Hmm.
line was so freaking funny to me.
Yes, that reminds me on my Miracle Luna, there was a line that I was supposed to say to Caitlin where I tell her like you belong in a cage, and I asked if I could change it to you belong in a kennel because I'm like it's like a dog, and so they're like yeah sure. I was like yes.
Besides yourself, which actor do you believe is going to blow people away?
Mm. Gosh, everyone, all the females in the vertical space are so talented. I mean, the things that they put themselves through for 12 hours plus. I think first person that comes to mind is Candace. I did, chasing his rejected alpha wife with her, and there was a scene where she was like, "Oh, I'm so glad this morning I don't have to like be emotional. I don't have to cry. Like I can just chill." And then come to find out, the client's like, "Oh no, like you're supposed to be having a mental breakdown right now. You have to be crying." And so they gave her like 2 minutes notice to like get there and to do this emotionally, and she just like she's like, "Okay," and she did it, and she just sat there crying real tears for like an hour straight, and I was just like that I don't know if I could do that if I got put on the spot like that, and on top of the frustration that I would feel in that moment. Like, good on you. I think yeah, she's extremely talented, and I really want to see her in other things, and I have no doubt that she'll do big things besides verticals for sure.
Candace is one of my favorites. Actually, the Jackson and Candace both
Hmm.
are like my top tier like favorites in
Yeah,
the vertical community, and
yeah,
it's just because Jackson can do anything, like
yeah.
literally,
Jackson
like
too. He's very talented, and I think yeah, he is gonna do some things outside of the vertical space at some point for sure.
yeah, he is amazing at everything. And then Candace is actually, if I'm not mistaken, she's doing Shira TV
Hmm.
with Kylie.
Yep,
Yeah, and so that those two alone, I'm like just so utterly impressed by them both, and I'm just
I
sitting
know.
there sometimes, and I'm like, oh my god, like oh, like you just did this and you did that, and like I'm just watching from
Hmm.
Instagram point. So like just imagine I could only like salivate over what it would be like to be on set and just watching those two
Hmm.
because they are so tremendously impressive and just
I
like
know.
talented, and then I'm like whoa, like whoa. And I love and adore them both. Like they're
Me too. Yeah.
absolutely the most wonderful women ever, and it's just like so impressive. And Jackson's one of my favorite people because when I started reviewing, I told him about like I sent an introduction video to everybody. I'm like, what the hell? I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm just gonna send it out there, and whatever will be will be.
Hmm.
And Jackson was actually one of the first people who wrote a nice, really kind message to me,
Yeah.
and I will never forget that. And he's just always
Very
been one
genuine
of my,
person. Yeah.
yeah, one of my favorite people in the community. And it's so funny because now that I'm like, when I watch him, I'm like, your tattoos and everything, it just takes me back to my mom
Mm.
because she always had tattoos on her arms and stuff. So when I see his tattoos, like that's the first thing that pops in my mind is my mom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love that.
Yeah, it's just awesome. Sorry, I got distracted there.
You're good.
Um, so let's go out with some fun questions now.
Okay.
What's on the top of your bucket list?
Top of my bucket list. Um, I feel like this is such a lame answer, but but I want to go to like every Disneyland in every country, all the Disneyland parks that exist. I want to visit all of them one day. I just want to travel, but like it would be a bonus if I could also go to all the Disney parks. And my wife is probably listening to me say this and being like, "Oh my God, really? That's what you want to do?" But yeah, I'm sorry, that's the truth.
No, I don't blame you. I love Disney history. Like I'm
Hmm.
literally obsessed with it. Like it's so funny cuz everybody always talks about I think Disney Tokyo it is,
Hmm.
but not a lot of people know that Dreamland over there was actually copied. It was modeled after Disney.
Oh,
And so it's no longer open. That park's been abandoned for a while and they've torn it down. But it originally was intended to be a co thing between Walt and the owner of Nara Dreamland. And then
oh,
they
interesting.
something happened where it didn't work out. And it was like modeled after Disneyland. Like it looked like Disney, well, not Disneyland, Disney World.
Yeah,
And it's so funny to think about that now. But yeah, I am such a huge, like, mega Disney buff fan and
same.
everything. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
What's your favorite kind of weather?
Fall weather for sure. Spooky season is, yeah, my favorite.
I love spooky season. I love decoration. Like I love
Yeah,
to decorate. And so it's so funny because like around August 1st or September 1st comes up the Halloween decorations.
yeah. I
And
skip
then no
Thanksgiving, or
yeah.
but you know what I'm saying. Yeah, no fall,
Yeah,
just Halloween.
and then November 1st is my Christmas decorations.
Yes, exactly.
So it's always funny to me because I'm like, oh yeah, now it's Christmas time, and my daughters will literally make fun of me for it. It's the funniest thing ever.
I'm the same way.
Okay, what type of books do you like to read?
I'm a big thriller person and thriller and mystery, but I've been expanding to sci-fi. I just love, for some reason, yeah, I've just loved the science fiction and learning about space in a fictional world. Um, Anything that has some sort of mystery element to it. Like I was just reading Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, and it's going to be a movie with Ryan Gosling, and I was just enthralled the entire book because it is kind of like a mystery because he doesn't know why he's in space. He like wakes up from like a coma, but it was also very educational and heartwarming. And I mean, I was like sobbing at the end. I'm like, how am I sobbing over like a space book? But yeah, that's been a big one for me. But most of the time, it's like thrillers or scary books, and I know that's crazy, but like I just love to read and be scared, which is like crazy.
Oh,
But yeah.
so mine's are like historical fiction.
Hmm.
Like I love historical fiction, and then romance, of course, because I'm a hopeless romantic at heart.
Hmm.
And then I think that would be it. I'm like, uh, I don't know so much about sci-fi. I do kind of like sci-fi, but it depends on the author and the book I'm
Yeah.
reading
Yeah.
because I can either leave or take it.
Yeah.
But I love historical fiction of any kind,
Hmm.
and then I love romance of any kind, really.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard for me for romance, I think, because I tend to be kind of like cynical. So sometimes I'm reading certain romance books and I'm just like, oh, give me a break. But there are some that I really love. Like I just read The Secret Life of Addie LaRue, and that was an incredible book. And it was like historical fiction, but also romance. And that was, yeah, I loved that. And there was also another one that I like called In 5 Years, and that's a romance novel. I think what I like about these ones is that it kind of is like when love expands over lifetimes or multiverses or things like that, like always finding your person, no matter what time it is. That's what I tend to gravitate towards in that space. But yeah.
I like what's it, Time Traveler's Wife, which also
Hmm.
Rachel McAdams was in. Um,
Yes. Haven't read the
that
book, but
that
I
book
love
was
the movie.
so
Yeah.
good. The book was so good.
Okay, I'll have to
Book was
check it out.
so good.
Yeah.
It's just a really good tale of how he meets her throughout time, and
Yeah. See, I love
how
that.
he jumps around and stuff. It's
Yeah.
so good.
Hmm.
It's so good. I'm one of those people, like, if I know there's a book, I have to read the book before I read the movie. Like, watch the movie. Like,
Yeah.
I'm that person.
I try to do that too. That's why I started reading Project Hail Mary because I saw the trailer for the movie and I love Ryan Gosling. And so I was like, oh, I gotta read this book. And so, yeah.
Okay, so final question, and it's a fun one. Describe your perfect day.
Okay. My perfect day. I feel like honestly, it probably isn't like a crazy, unique answer, but I would love to just get up early. I'm an early riser, so get up early. I would love to go to the gym, take my time and not be rushing, and go to brunch after. I love a good brunch, love a mimosa, get some good food, maybe in Santa Monica or Malibu, and then shop. I love going to the beach, but I haven't been in such a long time. I more so like to go to the stores surrounding the beach, I would say. And then go to the movies. I used to love going to the movies and especially going to the movies like in the early afternoon and then
Mm-hmm.
getting out of the movie theater when it's dark out. That is the best. And just going home and cuddling my animals on the couch with my wife. That would be like my perfect day. Or you could say, going to Disneyland for my birthday or something. Like that was also my perfect day. So depends.
I think mine's would be the beach or something,
Mhm.
like early in the morning before everybody else gets there, and just like walking along the beach
That is nice
waters.
to do.
Because as a Pisces, like, we just gravitate towards water. Like, it's just
Yeah.
peaceful and harmonious towards us for some reason.
Hmm.
And then the other thing would be the mid-afternoon movies, because they were always like super quiet.
Hmm.
Twilight is the reason. I always tell, like, I don't really talk about this, but like Breaking Dawn was how I got through the passing of my mom,
Hmm.
because I remember that whole week, like, just going mid afternoon, seeing Breaking Dawn.
Yeah.
Nobody was in the theaters,
Yeah.
and that's how I spent my time. And it was like literally 2 hours of like not thinking about anything else or anyone else in this world,
Yeah.
and just chilling out, because I'm the oldest. So I
Hmm.
always gotta multitask everybody else and like run everybody else's life and like take charge,
Yeah.
which is a horrible habit I have.
Hmm.
But yeah, that movie literally just was like peace out. And I haven't done a mid afternoon movie where there's nobody there in like the longest time.
I know, me either. But it is, yeah, it's a great feeling. The crisp AC and a Diet Coke and some popcorn, the best.
It really is. So, I do you have anything you want to ask, or you are curious about, or you want to talk about before?
No, I don't think so. I feel like we pretty much covered it all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
We
this was
really
fun.
did. So, I want to thank you so much for joining
Yeah,
me on this first one. I had so much
of
fun with
course.
you.
I
I
know. Thank you
appreciate
so
that.
much. I did too. I had a great
I
time.
And so, thank everybody for joining as well. I hope you all have a great night, and you have a great night too, Chelsea. I'm sure we'll catch up and talk more
Yes.
always. Bye, guys. Bye, everyone.
Bye.